Welcome to the Stack of Stats podcast. Pam Maldonado, KellyInVegas. We're here to bring you our 5 against the spread contest picks for week 14 of the NFL. Shit, man. That's all I got to start with. Shit, because that's what we've been. We're 3-7 in the last 2 weeks. We were moving and grooving. We were filling each other out. We were in sync. We've actually been in sync, and it hasn't been working out for us in the last 2 weeks. Kelly,
it is better when we disagree. That is weird, right? When we have to when we're like, yep, we got this. This is easy. It doesn't go well for us.
It hasn't been doing well. 3-7. That's where we are in the last 2 weeks. We are still profitable overall in the season, but that's really pushed us back into potentially cashing. It has dropped us a couple hundred spots. So, you know what? It's fine. It happens. We're learning. We're learning each other out. We're filling each other out. We're seeing what strategy of ours works. We switched up our strategy. Maybe that was the problem. We should not have switched up the strategy we locked in your best bet. We were locking in my best bet. And now all of a sudden, ever since we dropped my best bet, well, now we're 3-7. So maybe let's go back to that. Fortunate for everyone.
I think we go back to what was working.
Fortunate for everyone. Unfortunate for everyone. I literally only like one game this week, just one.
Same.
So when you have to do a pick 5 against a spread contest, how do you come up with the rest of the 4? This is what makes the NFL betting in a contest so dang difficult, because you have to submit 5 each and every week. But when it comes to betting, hey, you know what? I bet my 1 and I'm happy, and I'm going to wait to see what happens.
Pam, I'm going to get one of these casinos to do like a pick 3. I feel like we could see some really crazy records in, because I do feel like that, the difference between 3, 5, and 7. So I'm in a pick 5 league on Office Football Pool, and I'm 7 or 8 games above 500. The pick 7, I'm not even going to tell you guys my record, because those extra 2 picks each week that I'm like,
so hard.
Well, there's only 13 games to choose from. It's hard.
To be somebody who's correctly predicting 50% of an NFL slate, then you're a fucking genius, and you should be working for, I don't know, like NASA, because
there's a lot of luck that goes there. The thing with NFL is, and this is what I've learned working with far sharper people than myself, is not only are the Lions the tightest out of any sport, the parity between the teams is not as great as everybody thinks, except for this year, we're seeing double-digit favorites just crush.
Right.
And not to mention, the bookmakers move the lines based on sharp action more than anything else, right? That's why we see those 3.5s go away like that. That's why we see those 2.5 go to 3 really quickly, because those guys are just strictly betting those as numbers, not because they like a side. Bengals were a prime example last week, 2.5 to 3, just like that. And guess what? It didn't matter. The Chargers were absolutely the right side the entire time. So yeah, we're going to get through this. And I've got my eyes on this last little bit of a prize. We'll see how the next few weeks go. 4 weeks left.
Well, then we only like 2 games. So then tell me a little bit about your best bet. I know you are on Washington, which is a huge shock to me, because you didn't like them last week, but now you're loving them this week against a Dallas offense that is returning Amari Cooper back in the lineup, which makes a big deal in my opinion. What do you think?
I do think that this is a Washington football team that is finally coming to fruition of how I thought they were going to be the entire season, right? I did a whole series of videos for Barstool. I previewed all 32 NFL teams, and I started off with Washington football team because it was my favorite one. Of course, Ryan Fitzpatrick was supposed to be under center, and Taylor Heineke has done a pretty good job this last 4 weeks. And so I'd like to give him some credit. But the bottom line is this defense is starting to play like I said they should have been playing week 1. Maybe there was a lot of hype surrounding them. Maybe they just weren't in sync, whatever that was. Going back to Heineke, 2 interceptions in the last 4 games. I do think that he is given his limitations by Ron Rivera, and he does really well with them, right? We spoke about this team last week and how they had their woes against a really crappy Packers defense, and how they probably could have won that game, how many times they were in the red zone, but did not convert, missed field goals, didn't kick field goals, whatever it is. Long story short, circling back to my first statement, I've had this game circled since August. This is my favorite game. Last year, Thanksgiving, Washington at Dallas. I told my buddy Chad, he was over at my house for Thanksgiving. We're having a birthday party for myself. I said, Chad, this is going to be one of the biggest bets I've had of the year. And he goes, why? And I broke it down to him. And I remember just having a glass of wine, hanging out. I glanced over, I'm like, oh, hey, how are you doing, Chad? And he, mind you, he's pacing. He went to the casino. He was out in Las Vegas. He placed a pretty sizable bet. He's pacing. And I'm like, what are you worried about? This is one of those games. And this is a game that I feel the exact same way about. I'm like, not even worried about it. Give me the +4. Washington's going to win this game outright. I understand what Dallas brings to the table, but they don't really have that balance of an offense to line up against this defense. I do think that their defense should be given a lot more credit than I originally did at the beginning of the year. Kudos to Dan Quinn, because I figured it would take him at least a year or two to get this defense under wraps. They have been playing much better than I had originally slated. This is one of those NFC East knockout drag out type games. I think Washington comes out on top.
Some points to help along with your case is, since the week 9 bye, Washington is averaging, this has been one of the best things about this Washington team, is time of possession. Their drives are taking so dang long, and that is why they are able to keep the ball away from your opponent. Your Washington is averaging 4.07 minutes of possession per drive. That is the most in the league. They have converted 50% of the third downs since week 9. That is second in the league. And Washington before that was 27th in converting on third downs. So all of a sudden, after this bye, they came out a brand new team. And Cowboys defense, I do love the Cowboys, but they are second in the league in third down conversion rate allowed defensively. So now you're giving Taylor Heineke, who likes to control the time of possession, who's really good at converting on third downs, going up against a team who's pretty shit at allowing third down conversions. I definitely don't disagree. My one argument that I have is that this Dallas offense has been missing. It has been out of sync ever since Amari Cooper was out of the lineup, but he's back in the lineup. So that's going to change the dynamic potentially. But now you also have Tony Pollard, the running back, who is now out. And so now that's going to be, how are they going to shift that balance now? So I think because the offense continuously shifts, is working to Washington's favor. Do you trust Taylor Heineke if they were in a play from behind situation against Dallas?
That's the thing. And that is what I have as a big question mark here. Can they play from behind? We've seen them not really be able to do so all year. When they get out to that early lead, and like you said, they dominate the time of possession and they're able to control that pace of play of the game, I have no worries in the world. You're right. This Dallas offense can be very explosive at times, and that is going to be a concern here. I'm going to trust my numbers. I made this game 2.5 when it came out 4.5. I bet it right away. I believe. Oh, we are getting 4.5 in the contest, which is great. Yeah. We know a lot of NFL games don't land 4, but they do land a little bit more often than you would expect. So 4 in the hook makes me very happy here.
Okie dokie. We will see what happens. I don't agree. I don't disagree. This is a shit week for games. I don't really, like I said, I like one game, and you're not gonna like it.
Why am I not gonna like it?
Because it's one of the teams that we said we wouldn't bet.
Oh, well, listen, the do not bet list, it can like fluctuate throughout the year. I say a lot of things I don't really mean. Okay, Pam, like, sometimes it's like a relationship. Sometimes you love each other. Sometimes you hate each other. So I'm sure this is a team that I have my mixed emotions about.
Oh no, it's a one-way street of emotion. And it's like, God damn it, this one, I'm going with the Falcons +2.5.
I love it. I love it. What? Circled on my list. I swear, that's hilarious. I swear, because I swear to you on everything, I was not going to bring it up because I was like, there is no way Pam is going to go for this. She's going to absolutely kill me if I suggest this. So it is circled on my long list, but I was like, nope, not going to be the one to bring them up. Not going to do it.
This is my one game that I like this week. And I'm like, really? Matt Ryan is the one quarterback that I'm trusting my hard-earned money and putting it on? Not even taking the +2.5. I love him on the money line against the Panthers. Like, they both suck. Let's be honest. Cam Newton is doing Cam Newton things. He's showing up with his hats. He's showing up with his outfits. He's doing the whole I'm back. Well, you know what? He still sucks. He is so inefficient as a quarterback. He has 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions since joining Carolina, 5 of 15 with an interception and 2 first downs on third down passing attempts. He can't throw the ball. And the Falcons, Matt Ryan with Cordero Patterson, this is an offense that is still producing, is more effective, is more efficient than what the Panthers can offer. And the Panthers' strength is supposed to be their defense, right? They're supposed to be one of like the best defenses in the league. In their last two losses, they allowed 27 and 33 points from Taylor Heineke and Tua from Miami, giving up 4 passing touchdowns, forcing 0 interceptions. That's not supposed to be one of the best defenses. Where's the limits? You're allowing 27 and 33 points. That's above average for the NFL. So I like Matt Ryan on the road here. This was a fun fact, though. The last time that Matt Ryan faced a Cam Newton-led Panthers team was back in 2018, and the Falcons won 31-24. So I don't know. Maybe Matt Ryan's just like comfortable against the Panthers here.
I can see that. Look, I'm not ready to say Matty Ice is washed up just yet. I do think this is an excellent teaser spot. I tease the hell. I mean, I put the Falcons in every single teaser I could put.
That is a lot of trust.
Right. That's how much I like them. But that's how chicken shit I am to take the 2.5. I'm like, you know what?
I ain't chicken shit. Plus 115 on the money line.
I am so confident they are not losing by more than a touchdown here. But they are on my list. And I was going to see where the line went, and it's just holding steady, just nice and easy at 2.5. So I'm with you here. I think the Falcons is probably my third favorite pick this week if I had to pick my list. There's another one that I really like here, and I just had to pull up the contest lines, and we're getting 3.5. And I'm a little weary and seeing if we agree here.
The Bills.
I knew it. I knew your face. I was just waiting. That's why I cheated up. I just wanted to see your face. I do like the Bills at 3.5, and we can skip them because if I had to pick between them and the Monday Night Football game of the Los Angeles Rams, I would say I like both of those equally. The Rams are, I mean, look, the last time these two faced, Rams were getting the Lombardi. Everybody's telling, this team's going to win the Super Bowl. And then you go in and
that was right after they defeated the Bucks. So it was a huge letdown spot, I guess, if you were to say.
And how do you have a letdown spot against a divisional rival is beyond me, but that is exactly what it was. They came out flat. They got worked on both sides of the ball. And look, I understand that there's some, are we going to see Kyler Murray? Is it going to be Colt McCoy? I know it keeps going back and forth because he is week to week. I'm going to say it doesn't matter. I know that sounds like a little egregious to say that there's not much drop off, but Colt McCoy has been just absolutely great as his fill in. And so I think we'll see how this ends up playing out, but the 2.5 on the road, I just see this as this like little short home favorite on Monday night that everybody's going to want to go bet. I like the Rams here. Matthew Stafford has been kind of on a roller coaster, right? We knew he's been having back spasms and other issues. But I do think from everything I've been hearing, he's going to be okay. He's been getting those weird shock treatments. You would know what those are called.
You're right. Acupuncture.
No, that's a needle. I get acupuncture.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so here's an argument for two things. We mentioned the Bills, and then we're now talking about the Rams and Cardinals.
Well, the reason why I switched from the Bills is because your face said it all, and I was like, and pivot.
Okay, so here's my argument for I actually like the Bucks in this spot, and it is because if you look at the teams that the Bills have faced, I said last week I was all over the Patriots. That was my favorite bet of the week. I had New England in every way I could have them on the money line against the spread, in a teaser, just every which way that I could bet the Bills in the first half, and then in the Patriots. Yeah. And the reason why was because I don't believe that this Bills defense is legitimate. It was entirely exposed last week, as I predicted that it would. They're just going to run the ball, and that's exactly what they did. Did I expect Mac Jones to have 3 passes?
No, neither of us did.
But I definitely did expect them to run the hell out of the ball. Bill Belichick, he is a great coach. He knew exactly what he was doing. That was expected. If you look at their schedule, look at the Bills schedule, like pull it up right now and look at the teams that they have played. Name one passing quarterback that they have faced other than Patrick Mahomes in week 5 when the Chiefs were complete garbage. Name another one. They haven't. They haven't.
No, and listen, this was my argument for taking the Pats last week was their defense being able to get in front of Josh Allen. Now here's a Bucs defense that has that same type of pass rush that's going to kind of scramble what he's able to do. This is just a Bucks team that.
And what have we talked about for the Bucks? No, what have we talked about the Bucks? You kind of fade them on the road and you take them at home. Tom Brady, it's not just Tom Brady at home. It is this defense at home. They produce more sacks, more interceptions, more turnovers at home than compared when on the road. They're pretty much North Carolina. It's Sam Howell and North Carolina. You take them as a home team, and against Wake Forest, they're able to put up all those points, win the game, and score a bajillion points and force some interceptions. You don't do that with Sam Howell and North Carolina on the road. And that's exactly what the Bucks is. I don't like, even if they win by 3 points, I go with an underdog if I think they're going to win the game. I don't think that the Bills are going to win the game. Are they going to lose by 3 points? I wouldn't take a dog because they're losing by that hook. That's not how I do it. So if you really love the Bills, we can put it on.
I really like the Bills here in this spot. I think one of the things that Tom Brady does well is he reads opposing defenses, particularly in the blitz formation. That's not what Buffalo does. They are just such a ground and pound, punch you in the mouth. Look, if they want to be taken as a Super Bowl contender, they have to win this game. You're right about the three doesn't mean that they will win in the hook. The 3 in the hook is valuable, but we all know NFL has just picked the winner, and 80% of the time you've got yourself a cash ticket. So not quite. I think it's like high 70s, but just to paraphrase. So that's the big thing here. I'm okay with tabling the Bills and seeing where it goes. Anything else?
My prediction for this game, honestly, could be, this is how much I believe in the Bucks in this spot, that they could win 44-20. Like, it's like super high scoring, but Tom Brady's going to have 5 passing touchdowns, and the Bills, Josh Allen is just going to be like lost because they can't. I mean, at the worst, I can see like 31-34, of which it's like it lands exactly at 3. But I don't see the Bills winning. So if you think that this game could land 3, I'm all for the Bills and the Bucks covering. For the Cardinals, I also we had to do a prediction because it's the Monday night slate for Yahoo, and I flip-flopped in my video. I said I initially went with the Rams, and then I was looking and I was like, other than it was a big letdown spot after defeating the Bucks, I have no other reason. Because the Cardinals, I believe, are a legitimate team. They're well coached. They can run both sides of the ball on offense and defense. And if you look at the Rams' last 4 wins, the Jags, the Texans, the Lions, and the Giants. I could see a scenario where the Cardinals just absolutely just roll on Matthew Stafford.
I can see a scenario where this is a 2-hour-long show because we hate this week's card.
Because we hate everything. Well, and then if you look at Stafford,
pull up some other things just to like give me like a little boost, because I'm like, cool, Washington football team, Falcons, let's go. And then it just
2-0.
Right? We're gonna go 2-0, except we have to force 3 other picks, and that's where it gets really difficult. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you don't like either of those, I would say, and this is something I was just talking about with Hakeem Profit on Twitter. Yesterday, Hakeem gave out 2 days ago, he gave out a Lakers money line pick, and he's getting trashed for it, even though he has 30+ cents of closing line value, right? And he's like, well, this was the system. This is what I was following. But I told him, I go, Hakeem, everybody knows you're a Lakers fan. This is why I rarely bet K-State and why I rarely bet the Broncos. So with that being said, I lean towards the Broncos this week over the Detroit Lions, who just got their first win, in more of a situational play here. Okay. That's just the thing. Like, when's the last time Detroit won 2 games in a row? Yeah, 22 games ago, they won 2 in a row. This team is not going to string together 2 wins. Now, double-digit favorites, as I've mentioned, have just been crushing this year. Also means I'm going to bet the under in this game. I see this game being like 31-7. This Denver defense, I know, has shown some moments of greatness and then some moments of WTF, but this is a Broncos team that plays much better at home. I really do trust Vic Fangio from the defensive side of the ball, not necessarily the offensive side of the ball. But Jared Goff, he's not the answer for Detroit. Did he throw a bomb last week in the 4th quarter? Sure.
He looked like a stud in that drill, in that 2-minute drill. He looked like, oh, child, that was
great.
Nice.
He did. We haven't seen that Jared Goff in a really long time. That being said, it goes back to what we said before you hit the record button about the Vikings last night. That's what the Vikings do. They blow halftime leads. This team, that Vikings team, has led in every single game they played in this year. They're just terrible. And I don't know why. I cannot explain what in the heck they're doing in the second half of these football games. That being said, I do like the Broncos. And there's an asterisk for my long story short, because I am a Broncos fan here. And that means that I really have to like them in this situation. When it opened 8.5, I did put them in a teaser. I did not take the 10, but I do like them here. And because we are not in agreement or disagreement, we just don't really like this week's card. I'm trying to figure out.
I don't disagree. I don't dislike this one. And the reason why I chose the under last week against the Chiefs, I remember telling you that I didn't love the Broncos as a side. I could see it happening, but I didn't love it. More so I loved the under in the game. And the reason why I liked the under was because the Broncos in the red zone defense, they're one of the best in the league at defending touchdowns in the red zone. They are forcing more field goals than they are touchdowns. They're allowing 6.4 red zone plays per game. That is the fewest in the league. And the Lions, they're 29th in the league in red zone plays. That is the bottom of the worst. So they barely even get downfield in order to even give themselves a chance at putting up points. They're 32nd in plays inside the 10-yard line, and inside the 5-yard line, that is 34th. That is bottom of the barrel of all the teams. You cannot get any worse than that against one of the best red zone defenses. I can also see a scenario where it's like, defensively, the Lions have done really well. This is why you've seen them in close games and maybe not close out the win. So I could see a scenario where it's like 21-10, 21-9, 23.
I already did play this under, and I think that this is an excellent underplay yet again this week.
Yes, I fully agree with that. 10 points, that's what the line is. I mean, double digits have been working. They've been really well. The line is 10. You feel I'm okay with putting this one in. If you want to talk about other games instead of putting that in first, let's also, let's talk about one game that I did like was the Saints at the Jets. What do you think?
5 is such a weird number, right?
Right.
It is always like that elusive, when I started betting, dead number, if you will. And it's no longer a dead number. Since 2015, when they moved back to PAT, it does hit about 2% of the time. As far as the side goes,
I will say for the other contest, the line is 6 and not 5.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting too, getting a whole 6 points. The Saints, what is going on with the Saints? We thought Trevor Siemian was going to be a good fill-in for Jameis. 2 games later, everybody hates him. He gets benched. Right. Now we see Taysom Hill. Taysom's not much better. I'm going to be honest with you.
But he is a great rusher.
Yes, I've spent.
He's a great running back.
3 minutes on this game because I did make this game 6. I thought 5 seemed rather cheap, and it made me very nervous.
For one contest that we are not in, the line is 6. For the contest that we are in, the line is 5.
Okay.
At the time that for the Saints, the only argument that I have.
Go ahead.
The only argument that I have for the Saints is that the Jets, they're one of the worst defenses. They went from last year having one of the best defenses, and that's what was keeping them competitive, to this year. Now they are literally 32nd out of 32 teams. And the Saints, I know that they don't have Mark Ingram. He's back on the COVID list, but Alvin Kamara is back in the lineup. And though he hasn't been very effective this season, the ability to be effective is still there. And then Taysom Hill last week, I know that he had a few interceptions. That's unlikely to occur again because he utilized him on the ground. That's what he is best at. He had 101 rushing yards last week, and the Jets defense, they are 30th against the run. Tie Taysom Hill with Alvin Kamara on the run game. How is this not a run only offense? Just like what we saw from the Patriots. I mean, it should be exactly that.
I don't know what Sean Payton's doing. That's
exactly. You're assuming that that's what's going to be the game plan in order to avoid some of those interceptions on the ground. If that is the game plan, then they're going to run all up and down the field against this Jets defense. And it is still Zach Wilson. He is still literally, in my mind, he's worse than Cam Newton. He is the worst quarterback.
He's a definite liability. My problem is this. I didn't watch a single second of that game last week. Okay. I was getting score updates. I'm in a couple gambling group chats. A couple guys took the Jets, and the Jets were looking great for about 3 quarters. My problem is not watching the game. I want to figure out how the Jets managed to blow that against Gardner Minshew. Were they prepared for Jalen Hurts, even though we had heard maybe he was going to be out all week long? Was there a couple of picks from Zach Wilson? I'm trying to figure out I was trying to Google it really quick because I literally have not spent hardly any time on this game. It was just one of those games I looked at, glossed over, and said, I'm going to pass here. And it's not something I have a big opinion on by any means, but I'm wondering if the Jets looked better last week on paper, and maybe that's where we're getting this number from.
The Jets were completely shut out in the second half.
Okay.
In the third, in the second, they scored all 18 points they scored 12 points in the first quarter, and then they were shut out in the entire second half. And then, there's nothing. The Eagles were just able to get downfield. Field goal. Zach Wilson threw an interception, led to a field goal, and then a punt. They scored on every drive. It's that defense. It is that defense. Every drive that the Eagles had, they were able to put up at least 3.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense. So listen, I'm with you here. If we get Alvin Kamara and Sean Payton runs that offense, not like Drew Brees is under center, I think that the Saints should dominate this game.
And the Jets, they are 32nd in opponent touchdowns allowed. The Jets, 9 losses this season, all by 8 points. 8. They have 9 losses this season for the Jets. 7 of them have been by 7 points or more.
Yeah.
So you're pretty much saying, are the Jets going to beat the Saints? In no fashion should they be able to, even if it is Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara that we haven't quite seen who he was previously with having Drew Brees as the quarterback. And then another reason why I like the Saints was because Zach Wilson, he is pick heavy. He still has 11 interceptions on the season. That is tied for 4th most in the league. And that's because he missed a couple of games. Otherwise, he probably would have had more. But we have seen what this defense for the Saints is capable of doing. When a quarterback gets pick heavy, interception heavy, they had a 38-3 win over Green Bay. They had a 28-13 win versus New England. And they had 36-27 win over Tampa Bay, all because there was they are 2nd in the league for forced interceptions.
Listen, I'm here for it.
6th best in forcing thrown interceptions.
I absolutely think the Saints should be on our long list to kind of decide and break down. Okay. The only other game that I have circled, and this isn't a humble brag, is the Niners +1. I did not play it.
It's 1.5.
I know. I am kicking myself going, you liked it. Why did you fire? And now the line is flip-flopped through 0. I asked a good friend of mine, Dave Koken, the other day. I said, Dave, I hate when a team goes from a dog to a favorite like that because the original favorite, right? So, and he goes, I think it's in your head, kid. And he goes, no. ask and see if you can find some data behind it. I asked. Ralph basically said 50% of the time, it doesn't mean jack shit. And I go, well, every single time I bet a team that flips to a favorite, I lose. And exactly. I do like the Niners here. This is a Bengals team whose trajectory just a little too high came crashing and burning back down last week. While they did have an opportunity to try to catch up in that game, they just couldn't get it done. I like the Niners here in a buy low situation, but now that they're a 1.5 point road favorite, I'm going, I think we're too late. But we are still trying to find that either 5th one or add to the list and talk through some more of these.
So I told you that I had the Patriots in a couple of teasers to close out the teaser. And I was like, man, I love the Patriots so much. I want them in another teaser for this week. So I put them in with the Niners. So I got 7.5 with the Niners. And then I saw that the line moved to 1.5. I'm like, what the fuck? What happened? I'm like, I don't even, explain to me.
It doesn't matter. You've got yourself a pretty nice ticket. You're getting over.
I don't care about CLV. I care about cashing tickets. But let's talk about this game.
In theory, if we're talking over 100 tickets, Pam, you're going to now cash 2 or 3 more tickets because you have the best of the number. So let's talk about this game.
Let's talk about why this line moved, because I haven't talked to anybody about it. I haven't read as the reason why. The Niners are completely banged up on their run game. All of the running backs are injured, and they are scrapping players from practice squad and from other teams, and they're trying to figure it out. So you have a really injured run-only team with all of their running backs potentially out. and the line moved to your favor. Joe Burrow, I know that the finger thing, he had a finger problem. He still threw for like a bajillion yards, and he was able to bring the team almost back into contention for the most part against the Chargers last week. So I really don't think that the finger is that big of an issue.
Well,
why the line move? Let's talk about.
I'm not worried about the finger. I just think this 49ers defense has kind of been brushed under the rug. I mean, we know that they don't allow a ton of passing yards, right? Teams can't pass against this San Francisco team. As far as the injuries go, I'm trying to look and see because I do have Deebo Samuel and George Kittle on my fantasy team. It looks like George is a go. Deebo, it looks like he is probably going to be out this weekend. I have not heard 100% on that one.
It's Elijah Mitchell that's also worried. He had a head injury on Sunday before he did return to the game, but he did have concussion symptoms.
So he is Monday. Not going to practice today. And so I'm going to go ahead and guess
he's out. Yeah.
That he's out, right?
And then that Jeff Wilson had his knee flare up. Trey Sermon is on IR.
Yeah, their IR list is long. I'm looking at it. There's 15 or 20 people on their IR list. You're not wrong here. That is cause for concern.
So this is why I was confused. Like there's all these injuries that piled up after one game for the 49ers, and then the line flipped.
My only answer is, going back to what I said in the very beginning, is somebody with far more money and respect than I'll ever have, bet this team, and the bookmakers move the line off of it. Because I'm telling you, I did one show on Wednesday. I was like, I'm going to bet this plus 1.5. I did another show 4 hours later. I look and I go, what happened in the last 4 hours? I was going to lock that line in. I did not. Now it's like, we'll see what happens between now and Sunday. It could flip back based on all the injuries, some of the public perception there. That being said, I do still lean towards the Niners in this spot. As far as it looks like Deebo is going to be out. I'm going to check one more thing, but you're right. This is a very banged up Niners team. It might be just best just to stay away.
The 49ers do lead the league in scoring on 28% of their red zone plays. The Bengals are second, however. I think also another caveat is there's become like a narrative about Jamar Chase and how he was super spectacular at the beginning of the season. And now all of a sudden he's not. He's caught 10 of 17 targets of throws of 15 yards or more downfield in weeks 1 through 7. Since then, he's caught 1 of 9. So there could be that narrative as to why the line could have flipped is, well, now if you have to throw, are you even able to?
I think we table the Niners, unfortunately, because you're right. I think we've thought too long on this one, and you know how I feel about that.
Think long, think wrong.
Yes. I'm going to get a t-shirt made for that. I'm looking here. I've got some other teams on my long list, right?
How about
we can talk about the Titans if you really want to.
I was just gonna say the Titans. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about the Titans. The Jags stink, and I am a Jags fan. And
I need to know how the hell you ended up a Jags fan.
Okay, so I told you a few episodes ago that I didn't start watching the NFL until like 2016, right?
Right.
I didn't, anything that happened prior to that, I couldn't tell you about Tony Romo. I couldn't tell you, unfortunately now rest in peace to Marius Thomas. Like I don't know anything about the NFL prior to 2016. When my buddy said if he was in a contest that's similar to what we're in, but the other one, and he said, I'm doing this NFL contest, join me. I want you to be my partner. I was like, bro, I know nothing about the NFL. And he's like, but you're really good at college. Just do that, but for the NFL. And I was like, okay, it's not the same. Just do that. But anyway, that's why I got into it, because I was doing this NFL contest with a buddy of mine, and I didn't know anything. All I knew was that the players that I liked in college, Allen Robinson, Allen Hurns, they ended up the players that I liked from college were with the Jags. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just like automatically a Jags fan. I love Allen Robinson. Great. I'll go ahead and take him along. And then it just kind of like stuck with me. It became like a thing. And I
just figured you just purposely picked the worst team to cheer for, so you didn't look like you're a bandwagoner.
I mean, that's kind of like, if it's that scenario too, I'll go for it. But, and then Allen Robinson left, and I was like, well, fuck. And then Allen Hurns left. I was like, well, fuck. And then, whatever. But I have like my golf clubs have my golf head covers are of the Jags. So people always ask me, like,
Hilarious.
are you from Jacksonville? No. Then how are you? What's going? I know. I bought these shoes because they're like fucking amazing.
They do look really good on you. I would
I
agree with
mean,
that.
can you see it?
Look, in theory,
there
this should be any team's, obviously any given Sunday. Obviously, the bookmakers make the line high for a reason. This should be any team's get right game, right? It was a get right game last week for the Rams. This is a Titans team off a bye,
Get
and they
Julio
needed
Jones
that bye.
back.
They needed that bye week really badly.
Mm-hmm.
They have just been atrocious as a favorite, and that scares me. But I do think this is their opportunity to come out. I know Derrick Henry's not back yet. He will be back soon. It looks like actually they're saying within the next couple of weeks.
Wow.
That gives this team the opportunity for a playoff push, right? And to regain first place in the AFC South. Right now, it's just them and the Colts hanging out, 1A, 1B. They win this game, they're going to be in the top spot of the AFC South. So I have my concerns about Ryan Tannehill. Of course I do. And since losing Derrick Henry and AJ Brown,
but they do get Julio.
They
Jones
do have
back.
Julio.
He's missed the last couple of games, and he's coming back into the lineup.
Yeah, I think that they have to come out here and put on a pretty convincing performance. Obviously, again, this is more of a situational play. Poor Trevor
And the big
Lawrence.
difference between the Jags and the Titans is that the Titans actually do have a defense, and it is against the run. So now you have the Jags team, who is a mostly run-only offense, with running back James Robinson going up a Titans defense that is sixth best against the run. In rushing gains of 10 yards or more, Tennessee is allowing the fewest in the league. So they are pretty dang good. They're limiting those explosive plays. And James Robinson for the Jags, he's the best part of this offense, and he's not even that great. He has not been that great. He's the best part of he's been the best part of this Jacksonville team. They don't have an offensive line, and he has had 39 total yards. This is rushing and receiving, 39 total yards or less in 3 of his last 4 games. And this is supposed to be the best part of your offense. Now going up against the Titans defense, that maybe their offense isn't right entirely there. Julio Jones, he's back in the lineup, but at least offensively, this defense should be able to hang in. And then the Jags offense, they're 31st in red zone scoring attempts. They're 30th in plays per game. Tennessee quarterback Ryan Tannehill, he is averaging just under 6 yards per play, so that's always going to be a worry. Since the bye, he has had no more than 1 passing touchdown in all but 2 games this season. If they do get this passing game going, though, it's more so a play against Jacksonville being one-dimensional, facing the defensive strength against Tennessee.
I'm with you here. I think this is a play on the Titans coming off a bye, healing up those injuries. I like Vrabel. I don't know how you feel about him. I'm a big Mike Vrabel fan. I think that he is one of those coaches that gets a little bit of credit, but not enough, especially from the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to take the defense here and say that this looks like a 28-10 type of game where the Titans should just dominate both sides of the ball.
Let me see. The line total for this game was set at 44, so that's going to tell you that it's going to be low scoring. You can always assume that one of those low scoring opportunities is going to be the Jags not putting up points. So I could see like Jags scoring no more than 13 points.
Yeah.
So are you saying, so then think about that. Can the Jags score 24 plus?
No, I can't see in any way that is a thing that happens.
Do the Jags win? No. Can the Titans put up some points? They would have to score minimum, it would have to be 24 plus, because it's an 8.5 spread.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
If you don't think that the Titans can score that, then they should not make it. Though I do think it can happen.
Titans will be in a teaser for me.
Okay. All right. So then we're back to square one. So we have the Falcons and Washington and the Broncos. Okay, well, that's three. Okay, what about the Packers? I own you with the Bears.
Yeah, I have the under in that game. This is the Bears team. that I know a lot of people are going to say, but it's divisional underdog, yada, yada, yada.
Tell me this is not going to
God.
be like a 38-3 game again. Because Justin Fields, I think he has shown improvements, yes, but he
Are we
is
sure it's
still
not going to be Andy Dalton? Have they announced a starter for this weekend?
I'm pretty sure it was Justin Fields.
Andy Dalton was absolutely atrocious last weekend. Just disgustingly atrocious. They had multiple opportunities to cover that game, and it was so bad. I mean, I played all the divisional underdogs just to give myself something to cheer for, and a couple of them went my way, but this was one that should have went my way, and it didn't. Look,
Justin Fields is starting.
He is? Okay.
Yeah. Cleared to return from his rib injury and will start as the quarterback.
Okay. Look, 2 of the Packers' 9 wins this season have come by more than 13 points. That is my one concern here. Otherwise, you nailed it. They own Chicago. They've won 10 of the last 11, 3 of those by double digits. You've got a Green Bay team off a bye week. Bears lost 6 of 7. Come on. This is just.
Well, one of those teams that they won double digits on was the Lions. So that's good. And then the Bears was 10 points. Now you're getting 14. All right. That's a big spread. Especially since they don't need to blow them out. I mean, no team ever needs to blow them out. It's just the Bears can't score is the thing.
Yeah.
All right. Let's look at we're running out of some options here.
I'm okay. I'm okay with the Packers. As I told you, I love those double-digit favorites.
What about okay? I am so surprised though that you have not said anything about Lamar Jackson as an underdog.
Because this team is so up right now. It's the same reason why I'm so glad I didn't bet the Steelers last night, because those two beat the crap out of each other. So I thought maybe Harbaugh was just being nice to me, going to give me a gift with my 4.5 by going for 2. No, it's because he knew how banged up his team was. And he knew that going to overtime was such a bad answer. And not only would it carry into overtime, it would carry into the Browns this week. This is a weird scheduling spot because Cleveland played the Ravens, had a bye. Now they play the Ravens again. Right. Ravens on the flip side played the Browns, play the Steelers, then play the Browns. Those are some really hard fought AFC North games. I tease the Ravens. I am terrified of this line. I love Lamar Jackson. We all know that. He's on my fantasy team. He's a great quarterback when he is able to do what Lamar Jackson does best, and that is run the ball and control his offense. I don't know what the hell has been happening for the last few weeks with him. I don't know if he's more hurt than they're telling us. I don't know if they're starting to do some different play calls, but that man has been scrambling for his life so many times that it makes me really, really leery about this line. Like, it's the right line. By all means, these AFC North games are always 3-point games. I said that last week. It always feels like that, except for the time that the Steelers got blown out by the Bengals. But I lean towards the Ravens here. If you want to make a case for the Ravens, I will gladly take them.
I have no case for the Ravens other than they're an underdog and Lamar Jackson is still capable.
Absolutely. But this line stinks.
What the Ravens have been vulnerable against is the pass. And Baker Mayfield don't pass. He ain't that good enough to exploit this Baltimore secondary. So other than that, will also say though, like the Browns, they do have a top 10 pass rush, and the Ravens, Lamar Jackson is the most sacked quarterback in the league right now. So that would be my cause for concern on backing. But I mean, I just don't think that the Browns should be 3-point favorites.
I don't know what world the Browns should be 3-point favorites as well.
To anybody when you're a run only offense and you're facing the number 1 run defense. And Lamar, they've sunk. But just like the Chiefs, they bounce back. They could bounce back. Maybe those injuries are starting to pile up, but there's not a lot to like.
There's not. This week, we said it. We said how much we hated this week. We still hate this week. I hate this week a lot. All
right, so then
Washington football team, Falcons, and then who would be your third?
I thought we had Broncos.
Broncos would be my third as well.
We did Broncos. Yeah, that was already in there. So now we're trying to find
have these 3 for sure.
You and I are opposite on Rams Cardinals, and we're opposite on Bills Bucks. So that leaves us with either taking a big ass spread in the Packers, or how about the Giants?
Because I don't hate the Giants here. I'm not going to lie to you. I know some
Because
really
the
smart people
Chargers
that took the
are playing the
Giants at
Chiefs
10 and
next
a
week.
half.
That's literally my only argument, is that the Chargers play the Chiefs next week.
Yeah, look, it's a total sandwich spot. They just had a big win emotionally, I'm sure, because they had not been playing well against the Bengals on the road. Now they just got to play the Giants. Next week, they face the Chiefs. I'm with you here. I was trying to figure out, let me pull it up. Where did it go? Nope, wrong Twitter handle. I need to see what this says really quickly.
And Jake Fromm, I mean, he's not
it's
a terrible.
It's a 10 in the contest as well. I'm okay with the Giants. I would actually consider them as an.
But could you also see a scenario where the Chargers are playing the Chiefs next week, and it is going to be, but they're just still so good that in their sleep they can win 36-13, like 31 to 10.
I wouldn't say that they're so good, but
offensively, yeah. All right. Either you hold your nose with the plus 10. All right. Here are the options that we just rank them, and then you plug them in. The options that we spoke of would be Saints -5 against the Jets, 49ers -1.5 against the Bengals, though we both do agree that that's potentially losing value since they were underdog. Titans -8.5 versus the Jags. Seahawks against the Texans. We didn't. Oh,
God, that game just stinks.
Okay, then lay it off. The Giants +10 or the Packers. I mean, that's literally flip a coin.
If you want me to rank how I would rank them, I would go Packers, Giants, Titans, Saints.
And I would go Saints, Packers, Giants.
So the Packers is pretty much has to be in.
Yeah. It's a higher spread than what the first matchup was, but
I'll lay 5. I'll lay 5 on the road with the Saints with you. If you feel like Saints is really your number 4, it's just my only problem is that it just didn't have a big opinion, right? That was literally
well,
it.
I would say, like, if we're talking about like value wise, we're saying lay off of the 49ers because it's now 1.5 when we know that the line was plus. Well, isn't it a similar scenario where in one contest it's Saints -6, but in our contest it's Saints -5?
Yeah.
I don't know if that 1 point difference makes a difference when it's a 5 and a 6, but I mean, isn't one of them more indicative than the other?
I don't know if the 1 point necessarily makes a difference, but I can see what you're saying. That the 5 seems like a dead number here. I could see a lot of people taking the Jets this week after that first half last week. I wouldn't, but I could see why people are.
17-10 Saints.
Easy. Looks so easy. 17-10, 21-10, something stupid. Yeah, absolutely.
Because I like the under in this game too. I like a lot of unders. Okay, let's just do that. because at least you have a really good player in Alvin Kamara coming back. We know that Taysom Hill can run the ball, and at least the Jets have the worst defense. So we are exploiting a negative. We are exploiting a weakness. So I don't mind doing that. Now, when it comes to the Packers, the weakness is that it's the Bears and they just don't put up a lot of points. So they are capable. They have improved. Maybe 12.5 is too much. So if you love either the Rams, how about this? You love either the Rams, you love the Bills, or you love the 49ers. Pick one of those, because I know you were talking about those and you loved one of them. If you want any of those above, say, that's like a Titans team.
I would rather take the Giants over the Niners or the Bills. I don't like when we disagree. I don't necessarily care that we agree, but I don't like when we disagree. That never seems to try to talk another one into one that neither one of us really like, if that makes sense.
Okay, so then you want to do the Giants.
Yeah, I vote Washington football team, Falcons, Broncos, Packers, Giants.
Okay, say that again.
Washington football team, Falcons, Broncos, Packers, Giants.
Packers instead of the Saints?
or you like the Saints better than the Packers. Sorry, that's my fault. Yes, we go Saints, Giants. Yeah. You like Saints, I'll take the Giants.
Just because, I mean, okay. Saints, Giants, fair, perfect. Then that's it. Woo!
Done.
And we can avoid the Packers just because it could very well.
Anybody who watches this video is gonna hate us, and they're gonna go, "Why did I just waste an hour of my life listening to these two go through a card they both completely hate?" You know what that means? We're going 5-0 this week, Pam.
Absolutely, I love that. Saints -5 against the Jets. Falcons +2.5 against the Panthers, Washington +4.5 against the Cowboys, Broncos -10 to the Lions, and Giants +10 to the Chargers. That's our card. And you know what? I don't freaking hate it because we talked about everything. And when you don't love anything but one game, you got to do with what you got. And this is what we got.
Hey, sounds great to me. I'm happy for it. This is what you have to do some of these weeks where you just don't like anything. You got to talk through it and decide as a team, because that's what makes these contests so freaking hard. Like, if I screw up on my own, I have nobody to blame but myself, right? So
exactly. Trying
to go through a whole season, trust me, I've done this with people before. We've wanted to kill each other. By like week 8, I was texting my buddy Dalton's wife, like, "I hate your husband." She's like, "Welcome to my life. He never listens to anything I say either." You know, those kind of things happen.
I'm in a pick 7 contest and my guy abandoned me. So 2 weeks ago, he just like picked up and canceled on me back-to-back weeks. So I'm just like, I guess I'm on my own. So I appreciate you for not doing that to me.
Jeez whiz, I missed that. Well, I'm sorry that happened to you. If you need some, well, we have a no college this week. I'm just devastated without college, but we'll find some bowl games. I'll send you some of my favorites, and hopefully you can finish the season strong.
Oh my. Well, that is our card. Do make sure to follow Kelly on Twitter at KellyInVegas. You can follow me at Twitter at Pamela M35. 5-0. Speak it into existence. I haven't said that in a while. This is the week. 5-0. At the very least, we can parlay our 2 favorites. I'm going to do that. I'm going to parlay your favorite, my favorite, which was Washington football team +4.5 on the money line, and then the Falcons +2.5 and on the money line.
Yeah.
That does it for another episode of Stack of Stats. Thanks for tuning in. Kelly, I will see you again next week.